In the small, rain-kissed town of Umandu, nestled between two ancient hills, stood a peculiar school, Umandu High School. It was an ordinary-looking school with red clay walls, dusty football fields, and uniforms that clung to the skin under the midday sun. But hidden behind its ordinary exterior was a secret older than the school itself. Umandu High School was once the site of an ancient shrine, Agamembe, the House of the Forgotten Spirits. It was said that when the school was built, the shrine's guardians, powerful witches, did not leave. They simply enrolled. The new girl Chika arrived on a stormy Monday morning. She had almond skin, piercing eyes that changed color with the sun, and a snake-shaped birthmark curling around her left wrist. People whispered about her as she walked past, her footsteps silent on the gravel paths. No one knew where she came from. The teachers gave her a strange respect. Even the fearsome principal, Madame Obianuju, who was rumored to have once turned a thief into a yam. Chika was placed in Class 3C, a class known for its misfits. There was Ngozi, who could draw things that came to life. Tunde, who always smelled like burnt incense and knew things before they happened. And then there was Kachi, the class clown, who kept a charm around his neck that pulsed with red light when no one was watching. The moment Chika entered the class, a crow perched outside the window dropped dead. It began with a bell that rang at midnight. Only the witches heard it. Chika sat up in bed, sweating, her snake birthmark glowing faintly. She wasn't alone. Across town, Ngozi was sketching feverishly in her notebook, eyes wide and blank. Tunde's body levitated 3 inches off his mat, his voice whispering incantations in an ancient tongue. And Madame Obianuju, sitting in her office at that very moment, opened her drawer to reveal a withered skull, smiling. A forgotten coven was waking. Each student chosen by fate was a descendant of the 7 Circles of Neka, a legendary group of witches banished centuries ago for rebelling against the Supreme Spirit. Their powers had been sealed in the earth beneath Umandu. Until now. Behind the school chapel was an old, rusting door. No one ever entered, until Chika followed a vision that led her there one night. Inside, cobwebbed shelves held scrolls that whispered in the dark, and books that bled ink when opened. She found the Book of Broken Flames, a grimoire said to contain spells capable of waking the dead and twisting fate. The moment she touched it, her snake mark slithered up her arm like it was alive. She screamed. From the shadows emerged a figure, Mistress Ogechi, the ancient librarian who never aged. "You've awakened it," the librarian said. "The blood of the rebellion flows in you, and the circle is incomplete." The 7 circles were incomplete. Only 6 had reincarnated into students. The 7th witch, Nina, was betrayed long ago by her sisters. Her spirit now lived in exile in the astral path, watching, waiting for revenge. Chika soon realized her visions weren't hers alone. They were memories. She was Nena, reborn. But vengeance burns colder than magic. Madame Obianuju, once the leader of the circle, had sealed Nena's powers centuries ago, fearing the destruction they would bring. Now the school teetered between peace and magical war as old enemies reawakened. Umandu High School hosted its first ever cultural night, but the event was a cover. Beneath the moonlit stage, rituals were taking place. The students performed ancestral dances, their footsteps drawing sigils in dust. The drummers beat rhythms that opened portals. The food served that night was laced with herbs that unveiled one's true form. Ngozi's eyes turned silver. Tunde's dreadlocks turned into glowing vines. Kachi began speaking with a voice that echoed across lifetimes. Then Chika and Nena? She levitated, her body engulfed in serpents of fire. Before the shocked eyes of every student and teacher, the veil between the human world and the spirit realm tore apart. The battle was not of brooms and potions, but of minds, memories, and destiny. Chika stood between her old self, Nena, the vengeful spirit, and her new self, a girl who had finally made friends, who had laughed, who had learned. "I am not your weapon," she whispered, as her mark burned away into light. She cast the Binding of Spirits, a spell so ancient it was only whispered in riddles. It sealed the dark essence of the old coven, but preserved the students' powers. Peace returned, but at a cost. Chica disappeared. No one knows if she returned to the spirit realm or merged with the wind itself. But sometimes when the bell tower tolls wrong at midnight, the crows gather on the school roof, and a girl with snake eyes watches from the shadows. And the girl was Chica.